We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Very good morning, dear students. In our last lecture, we have been discussed about the characteristic impedance derivation of transmission line and other features. Now, in our today's lecture, we are going to discuss about reflection coefficient. So, whenever we think about reflection coefficient, we need to consider a boundary, and of course, the boundary is differentiate two areas. Very first is the area in which normally a signal is coming, and the another area in which the signal is cross the boundary and traveling other side. So over here, to visualize the same, we are considering transmission line along with load. So here one area is nothing but our transmission line and another area is nothing but load which we are considering. Now when we say that the voltage or in general any signal is propagating in positive z direction as well as negative z direction, it means that we are talking about two things. Very first is the transmitted signal and the second is the reflected signal. So here the reflected signal and transmitted signal both are the impact because of boundary. Over here in this chapter we are not saying that it is boundary, but we are going to say that it is nothing but a load itself, because just left side of load it is a transmission line and load itself is going to absorb the quantity of signal in it. Now in this slide the same thing we are visualizing. In this one you can see here, let me take the pointer, let me take the laser pointer here. Now in between this source and load we are having transmission line. The length of transmission line is small l. See this carefully. Now toward the source side we can verify that the source is sending signal which is having the value of voltage V plus. This is nothing but the incident voltage. Along with this incident voltage we are having incident current. Both are indicating plus sign. Same way opposite side we are having receiving end on which we are having the V minus and I minus. Now see this carefully. This Z is representing the movement on transmission line from source side and the D is movement from the load side toward the transmission line. Now in this one if we consider the value of voltage, then of course as we have discussed it is because of the incident voltage V plus as well as the reflected voltage V minus. So that V is equal to V plus into e raised to minus gamma z plus V minus into e raised to plus gamma z. In same way the value of current I. Now if I take this equation of voltage and if I divided this equation of voltage with Z0, then I can write this I is equal to V plus upon Z0 into e raised to minus gamma z minus V minus upon Z0 into e raised to plus gamma z. In this one simply I have taken this V plus, this V minus and divided this term both the side of this equation with Z0, which is nothing but characteristic impedance. Now if we consider the value of voltage on a line, as we have discussed in our last lecture, that now as we are dealing with high frequency, on different point on transmission line value of voltage and current will be changed, unlike the low frequency transmission line signal. so that this VL is equal to V plus into e raised to minus gamma L plus V minus into e raised to plus gamma L. And same way I can rewrite the same equation of VL with the current IL. So simply I have to take division with Z0. So if I take now ratio of this my VL and IL, then I'll getting the value of ZL, which is nothing but VL divided by IL. So this is equal to, we can write it is Z0 into V plus into e raised to minus gamma L plus V minus into e raised to plus gamma L, and in numerator there is a change in sign only as we are looking in this equation of I. Why the sign is changed here? Because the direction of current is changed, but here in voltage it is not, because voltage is stable on load as well as source side. Now as we are knowing that the reflection coefficient gamma is defined by the ratio of reflected voltage or current to the incident voltage or current. This stuff we have already discussed in our chapter number 5 of propagation of electromagnetic wave. So simply we can define this gamma is equal to V reflected divided by V incident. So now this ratio we can define by V minus, as it is the reverse voltage indicating the voltage offering by reflected wave, to the V plus divided by V plus. So V minus into e raised to gamma L upon V plus into e raised to minus gamma L, which is equal to ZL minus Z0 upon ZL plus Z0. This equation we can write from simplification in this our equation. Here what we can do, we can take this Z0 in denominator of this ZL, and further we can simplify, and if we take ratio of the term V minus and V plus, then we will be getting this term ZL minus Z0 upon ZL plus Z0. But this reflection coefficient is not always a real term. It is not always the normal quantity, but it is mostly complex quantity. Why it is? Because the load impedance as well as the characteristic impedance are always not necessary that they are real term, right? But they are complex quantity, and that's why we can define this our reflection coefficient with gamma L, which is equal to the mode of gamma L into e raised to j theta L, and so on, which we have already discussed what the theta and the things are. So finally we can say that the reflection coefficient gamma is V minus into e raised to gamma Z upon V plus into e raised to minus gamma Z. It is very obvious that, you know, here this gamma is positive sign, it's indicating that the propagation is load to source, and here it is showing that the propagation is from source to load. In fact, this is reflected wave, and this is in denominator it is incident wave. Now here further we are going to take the value of Z is equal to L minus D. I told you already that L is nothing but the full length of transmission line, which we have seen over here in this slide. This is the total length of transmission line, and if I am taking now the difference of L and D, then I will be on the point on transmission line from the load, and that is what we are supposed to take here in this slide. So that what I'm doing now, I'm taking this Z equal to L minus D in this our last equation, this equation V minus equation, and in place of Z we are putting here, then we are getting the reflection coefficient gamma D as it is on the distance D from the load on the line. This is equal to V minus into e raised to gamma into L minus D upon V plus into e raised to minus gamma into L minus D, which is equal to V minus into e raised to gamma L upon V plus into e raised to minus gamma L into e raised to minus 2 gamma D, which is equal to gamma L into e raised to minus 2 gamma D. So more further we can simplify it with this tau D, it is equal to tau L into e raised to minus 2 alpha D into e raised to minus j into 2 beta D. Here alpha is attenuation constant and the beta is phase constant, and over here this term is nothing but our equation of the complex quantity, which is representing magnitude as well as the phase of the given signal. Now from this we can consider the transmission coefficient. We have been seen in our last chapter 2 that 1 minus reflection coefficient. 1 minus reflection coefficient is nothing but a transmission coefficient, right? So that here we are writing that it is 1 minus tau square, which is equal to Z0 upon ZL into T square. As you know, here we are writing not only gamma, but gamma square we have taken as we are considering the propagation of power. So now if we simplify this, then this our transmission coefficient T is, then of course it is the ratio of transmitted voltage or current to incident voltage or current, which is equal to, we can write with VTR to VINC. Now here in this circuit diagram, we are having the propagation of power on the transmission line. So again, the generator is generating power toward load via transmission line, so that it is defined by PS. This is PRS. This is nothing but the reflected power. This is incident power as it is moving to load. Again, this is reflected power but on the side of load, and in between we are having the characteristic impedance Z0, which is offering by transmission line with length L. And a very important part is the transmitted power, which is moving to the load itself. Now for this circuit we can write that now we are having three quantities, three different types of signals. Very first is incident signal indicating V plus, reflected signal V minus, and transmitted signal VTR. Okay, so if I am taking the summation of reflected signal as well as incident signal, then I will get the transmitted signal, and the same we can rewrite with the formulation of current. Of course, I have taken the ratio of voltage to resistance, voltage to impedance, so it is given us the value of current itself. Now for this, if we simplify this equation, as it is mentioned here that 3.2.16 and 3.2.15, if we put this term in this 3.2.15 term, then we will be getting this reflection coefficient on the line is ratio of V minus into e raised to gamma L upon V plus into e raised to minus gamma L, which is equal to ZL minus Z0 upon ZL plus Z0. Now with this, if we put, then we will be getting the transmission coefficient T is equal to VTR upon V plus, and this ratio, if we put into this our normal equation, this equation is indicating 3.2.15, then we will be getting the simplified form 2 into ZL divided by ZL plus Z0. This is our transmission coefficient. Now the reflected signal toward the source side is defined by the incident power minus reflected power. This is effective quantity which is coming to the load, and this thing we can define by V plus into e raised to minus alpha L square divided by 2 into Z0. I told it already, the power is defined by V square divided by 2 into R. So the similar form we are using over here, but in place of R we are using Z as it is complex resistance, and that's why we can say that it is impedance. So that this term minus V minus into e raised to alpha L square divided by 2 into Z0. Here we are having transmitted power, so this PR, rather PTR, it is equal to VTR into e raised to minus gamma L square upon 2 into ZL. So finally, if we simplify this PTR, this equation, as well as the previous equation, let's say this equation of PINR as well as this transmitted coefficient T, then we will be getting this T square, it is equal to ZL upon Z0 into 1 minus gamma square, gamma L square. So this is our derivation of transmission coefficient as well as the relation in between reflection coefficient and the T itself. Now based on this, we are going to see the problem. Here the problem statement is a certain transmission line has characteristic impedance 75 plus J 0.01 ohm and it is terminated in load impedance 70 plus J 50 ohm. We need to calculate here the reflection coefficient. So we have already seen the formula of reflection coefficient is ZL minus Z0 upon ZL plus Z0. So both these things are given. This is our Z0, characteristic impedance is given, and ZL is 70 plus J50, which is nothing but our load impedance ZL. So that this term we can use, we can simplify, and we can get the answer 0.08 plus J 0.32. Let's say second option, here the demand is the transmission coefficient. So of course transmission coefficient, we have seen that it is 2 into ZL upon ZL plus Z0. We can simplify, we can get the value 1.08 plus J 0.32. The third is we need to verify the relation which is indicating by equation 3.2.21. The equation 3.2.21 is this equation, T square, which is equal to ZL upon Z0 into 1 minus tau L square. So this equation in the C part we are going to verify. This is the equation. T square we have seen, we are also knowing the value of gamma square. So T square we have taken simply square of this our achieved term, it is 1.25 angle 33.02. Now we need to verify whether the ratio of ZL to Z0 into 1 minus tau square is equal to, we are getting this same or not. So if we put all this value and if we simplify, then we are getting the same 1.25 magnitude and 33.02 degree angle here. And the last here is the transmission coefficient equals the algebraic sum of 1 plus the reflection coefficient, as we have seen in our theoretical discussion. So this is also straightforward depicted by the relationship, as we have got the transmission coefficient 1.08 plus J 0.32, and if we simplify and if we take out this one outside from this T, then what remaining we are getting, it is 1 plus 0.08 plus J 0.32. So you know this 0.08 you can see in option 1, 0.08 plus J 0.32 is nothing but reflection coefficient, which is representing here. So straightforward we can write here that my transmission coefficient T, it is equal to 1 plus reflection coefficient. So this was what about the certain problems as well as the theoretical discussion of the reflection as well as transmission coefficient. Now in our upcoming lecture we are going to discuss about the standing wave ratio on the transmission line and other related terms very rigorously. Right? Thank you all of you. Thank you very much to listen this lecture. And related to this, very soon I am going to upload assignment that you need to submit by the time. Thank you very much all of you.